So about a month ago, I did a podcast with Rick Bronson. Rick is the owner of the comic strip and various other clubs worldwide in huge malls and shopping centers and stuff. And, you know, as he says, he has to have large clubs and large shopping centers to compensate for other things, but that's his joke. But yeah, Rick is a comedian, he's a magician, he's a super nice guy. And when I first met him to do the podcast, he obviously saw something in me that he was looking for. I had actually had in the back of my mind, you know, I would love to do a live podcast, maybe just once at the comic strip. And it turns out after we do the podcast, he actually offered it to me. And I was shocked. So then recently I went to meet him again. This is our second time meeting, and that was 3 days ago. And here we are 3 days later and we're doing the first show. I'm incredibly nervous, but I know not doing it isn't an option. It's gonna be fantastic.
The last time I saw you, you were here for an event, but you approached me after the show, and you said it was the first time we had met, I believe.
Yeah.
And you asked me how to go about getting on stage.
Yeah.
And I asked how old you were, right? How old are you?
I actually just turned 16.
Just turned 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
The best thing about having a live podcast for me is going to be getting into the comedy scene. I spend as much time as I can at the comedy club, and I love to, you know, be involved, be part of that world. So if I'm on stage, that might be opening hosting possibilities, and then maybe 5-minute guest spots at separate shows. And then you can turn it into maybe I get my own opening act for a big comic, and then next thing you know, I'll be on stage. It's a lot different though than doing it here, because when I'm here, you know, I record on this mic and I post a podcast and I see 20,000 people have heard it. It's really exciting, but it doesn't faze me that 20,000 people are going to hear it. But then when I imagine 20,000 people in a room watching me do a podcast, my head explodes. But when I see that 300 people have heard a podcast that I did on this just solo, that doesn't matter. But if it's in person, it's a lot different. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here. But I know in my heart of hearts that no matter how anxious I am, you know, I do have a diagnosed anxiety disorder. I get so anxious and so scared before I do all of this, and this is the most, that for some reason, I put myself through this torture on a weekly basis because I love doing it, and I know it's going to be fantastic.
But you and I had similar paths in the way that you started in entertainment at 10 with the podcast.
Yeah.
I started in entertainment at 12 as a magician.
Oh, so yeah, I did magic too.
Did you?
I did.
All right, we're both super geeks. Awesome.
Yeah. I was in the Junior Magic Club in Calgary. I used to live in Calgary. I did it for about a year. It was once a month, and I ended up performing at the Stampede. Huge Magic fan I was, yeah.
Really, huh?
I'm going to be doing this with comedian Donnell Rawlings. He's a comedian. He's been on Chappelle's show. He's filming for MTV right now. Wildly successful comedian and actor. It's going to be my first time meeting him today. And here's the thing with this. There could be either 7 or 8 people in the club, or there could be 200 to 300 people in the club. I don't know, because they're saying anybody with a ticket for tonight for this 350-seat venue, come early for a live podcast. There's no knowing how many people are going to be there. So going into this, I would have loved to see how many seats are sold, but it's either going to be sold out, medium, or a couple people, you never know. So it has been a dream for me to perform at the comic strip since I've moved here, or at any comedy club, so either way, I'm sure it's going to go well.
You're doing something you love. Those people that are driving to their cubicles every day, they don't all love what they're doing. They're shepherds and they're sheep, and 10% are shepherds and 90% are sheep.
It's a lot.
And it's a lot more fun, I think, when you're a shepherd.
I can do this. I'm just really damn nervous about it. My nerves are going crazy. And like I say, it's about the unexpected. Not knowing how it's going to go is the first one. The main way I like to deal with my nerves is either through podcasting or playing the drums. So I like to say that each one of these represents one of my nerves, including the bass drum down here. So this is, if my nerves were a thing, this is what I would do to my nerves. I just want to say, as I said, I appreciate you bringing me on stage, bringing me to the club. Ever since I was a little kid, I would walk past you and be like, what the hell is this? Why is there such a long hallway? Is this a store? And now I'm in here hanging out. So I really appreciate
My
that.
pleasure. And it's, you know what? And I appreciate the fact that you're pursuing this, to see someone like yourself who's taking the initiative, that has the drive, that has the motivation to push yourself to do something, to find a passion and to pursue it is really noble, because it doesn't happen enough. So it's nice to see that there's people that are using the internet and the computer to push ahead through entertainment and by finding a voice and by being a voice, which I think is really a testament to you, and kudos, job well done, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure how many people are going to show up. That's a concern. It's a concern if there's too little, and a concern if there's too many. It feels really cool. There's been legends on the stage, like David Alan Grier, Bert Kreischer, Greg Fitzsimmons. All these incredible comics have been up here. And here I am sitting here about to do a live podcast with another comedic legend, Donnell Rawlings. So it's going to be crazy. You know, even just being up here without an audience is awesome. And then add the audience, some lights and a comic, and you've got yourself a show. So I'll reintroduce myself, Cassius. Nice to meet you, man.
What's up, brother?
I appreciate you taking the time to come in. I love your appearances on radio and, you know, the ashy, I'm in love with the lotion. Good stuff, man. I love it. So I was just thinking we could talk about kind of your past in acting and comedy and how you got started, and then
How'd you get
Chappelle's
started?
show. Me? I
You're
got
like
started.
14. You must know
yeah.
somebody in the business, man.
No, I don't. Well, now I know Rick.
This dude went from a paper route to his own podcast.
Yeah.
That's gangster right there.
I was a dishwasher. Yeah, I started when I was 10 with the podcast.
Really?
Yeah. So coming up on 7 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. So I've done a lot of interviews here. I just moved here, so I live around the corner from the club. So I love comedy, so it's just perfect.
Good stuff. Waiting for that crowd to come in.
Wait for the crowd to come in. And even if there's nobody, honestly, it's
all good, whatever.
we'll just record. You know, I'm honored to have you. So. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Cassius Morris Show. I'm your host. Today we're here with special guest
Donnell Rawlings, a.k.a. Ash Larry, a.k.a. Taking the Face, a.k.a. We Out Here, a.k.a. Go for Killer, a.k.a. Coyotes Don't Stand a Chance, a.k.a. Pierogies in Your Face all day, every day. Woo!
So we're here with everybody,
Exactly.
ladies and gentlemen.
I'm like the Wu-Tang of comedy.
That's right.
I'm like the Wu-Tang of myself. I got like a million names.
Thank you for taking the time to come on, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So how about we set up what was supposed to happen here today? So this was supposed to be the first live Cassius Morris show.
No, this is not what I heard on Instagram and on
No.
Twitter. On Twitter and
What'd you
Instagram, it say, yo, make sure you get there early. This shit is going to be off the chain.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? All hot girls get in before like a certain time.
Would have been good.
And then you told me that I only can have one invited guest. And if she has a +1, she's better be a plus size. And then we look around and I don't know. I don't know what happens, huh?
I don't see any plus sizes.
I know. I don't see no sizes out here, but this is what we do.
Extra small.
This is the theater of the mind, bitches.
That's right. And you mentioned a guest set. Were you serious?
Yeah.
You were serious. Now, what do you recommend for me for a first time doing comedy?
A person for the first time doing comedy, make sure that you first off don't take it too serious.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when people start for the first time, they have a set list. They want to do these jokes. They want to do that joke. We got to realize that things will come to you. And the most important part is just to have fun and don't take it too serious.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because you'll learn real fast. You learn by the crowd's reaction. You'll learn by the timing you establish with them, but you'll learn. Best way to learn is to fail. The worst thing that can happen is they don't like you, but if that's going to distract you from what you're doing, you shouldn't be doing it in the first place. You know, but you got to get experience for somewhere. People think that there's a rule to it. People are like, what do I need to do? What advice do you give? Can you give me? And I'm like, it's just all experience.
Yeah.
The more time you go up, you keep teaching yourself. And like what I said earlier, I wasn't trying to be discouraged when I said you learn from failures, but every time something bad happens, you need to learn from that and take it to the next step. Throughout your journey of comedy, everything is a learning experience to the next step. So all you're doing is just building experiences. You're just building experiences. You're just building experiences till you have so many experiences under your belt that there's not a situation that you're not ready for.
Okay.
You know?
I like
And
that.
then mix some jokes in there with it and you'll be good.
No, I love it, and I don't feel that it was discouraging to say, from failure, because it's like I've learned a lot from listening to all the podcasts with the comics who host them, because they say, I went on and the crowd didn't dig me the first 10 times.
Yeah, but you don't even need to concern yourself with that anymore. It's time for you to do it.
You believe it?
I don't believe it. I believe that it's something you want to do. I don't believe because it's not proven to me. What I'm saying is, if you're passionate about it, if it's something you really want to do, don't wait. You're at a good place. You're 16. Obviously, you're doing something right. You got your podcast. People like you. Take advantage of it now. Everybody, what they want to do is like, I got to get my set together. I got to get this perfect set. You're never going to have a perfect set. You got to get the courage to go up there and try, and then you just build on it.
Well, I appreciate you doing the show. Thank you. Thank you very much. Lots of inspiring words.
I just want to say, it's my first time. What's the name of the podcast?
The Cassius Morris Show.
The Cassius Morris Show. It is new, but with everything, things start new and they get good real fast. This is a guy to listen to and watch for. I wish you luck, success. 1.
Thank you. No problem, bro. Perfect, man.
I think the podcast, it's got potential to be something great. With anything, when you first start off, you have some bumps, you have some speed bumps. You go over them, you challenge yourself to get better. But I think that, I think Cassius is a great host. He's engaging. He's got a great personality, and I think he has a bright future. And I think that, the more podcasts you do, I think it's gonna get better. And I think it'll be one of the top podcasts out there. He's 16. By the time he gets 18, he's gonna get his swag up. By the time he's 19, he's probably gonna fuck every chick in Alberta. By the time he's 21, he'll probably have some type of drug habit. Hopefully it's marijuana. You can come and go with that. But at the end of the day, I think that he's on the track to being a successful kid. He's gonna win.
The first live podcast was interesting because I was really nervous coming in, expecting there to be a lot of people, but there was nobody, literally nobody except for me and Donnell. That was awfully interesting, but listen, it's just the way it goes. It's just the way it goes. When you're doing a live show like this where there's no set time and it's unpredictable, that's just the way it happens sometimes. It was still good practice because my first time I may have cracked under the pressure of having a huge audience. But since I got to go through the motions of doing it live, just except with no audience, it was a lot better. So I think that next time I'll be more prepared, and I did get the offer to go on stage to do a guest spot today, but it wasn't going to work out. So you never know, soon I may be going on stage, and that will be something really to look forward to.